Hello, everyone. Welcome. I know this is like a random stream at a random time, but there's a lot to discuss. And after Alien Romulus came out this past weekend, that kind of is the bookend to summer movies at the cinema. So thought we'd talk about it. This is Zane. How are you doing today?
How's it going, everyone? Happy to be here. Hey, don't
Yeah,
out of focus me.
there you are. Yeah, you look great. Fantastic. So just saying, there's just gonna say hi to these two people real quick, and then we'll get the show started. What's up, R. Banuel S23? Thanks so much for joining us today. And the Alley Sun. So random it is. Yes, it is incredibly random, but that's fine. If you're at home and you feel like chatting, that sounds great to us. Draculina, love seeing you here. Thanks for saying hi. And of course, Max, very happy to have him as well. So I'm going to
Hi.
pull up, I'm going to start off by introducing this image here. And this is like a good way to kind of talk about the summer. Let me see. Here we go. Cool. So this is the top 10 movies of the summer as far as how they did at the box office. This does not include like the full year or anything like that. So some people might be wondering like why is the King Kong movie not on here and things like that. This is literally just if you think about the movies that came out traditionally, like The Fall Guy would be like the start of the summer. And then Alien Romulus, which could eventually, knock the Fall Guy off this list pretty easily.
Right.
Same thing with It Ends With Us and If. This is kind of what we're looking at currently, though.
Right.
What
So,
do you think when you look at this list?
and we're going down the list.
Yeah, or just in general, like whatever you want.
I, to be honest, Deadpool needs to be number one, and I get why Inside Out is number two because like they did their homework completely. But if we're talking about blockbusters for the summer, I think Deadpool and Wolverine needs to be number one, hands down, hands down.
Yeah, I think it's our rating maybe is probably preventing it from. It's kind of lost a little steam at the box office currently.
Really? That's probably because I mean, once you get your $1 billion, I mean,
I
you could
know.
just walk away at this point, right? But I think Inside Out did a great job. Inside Out 2 did a great job, and like I told a lot of people about it, and I think maybe up until the end of July, it was good, but like I think once we hit into like is a completely different roster. I mean, Bad Boys definitely rocked it in June when that come out, like June, right?
Yeah.
I feel like each month needs like a king for that month, and Bad Boys definitely started off the summer when it came to that month. Like in terms of blockbuster, because there was nothing else prior to that to get us really like revved up into action for the summer, and it's like he did a great job with that. And then obviously Kingdom of Planet of the Apes was amazing. I don't know if a lot of people had seen it, but it seems like top six is up there.
I loved Bad Boys actually, and I think it goes to show you that like people really don't care about the slap at the Oscars at this point.
Right,
I wasn't gonna be like, oh, I'm boycotting this, and like I'm a huge Oscars fan, and like I think what
right,
Will Smith did was really stupid. But like
right.
to be honest, there's like a nostalgia factor of seeing Will Smith in a summer movie. I think, and like I remember being in the theater, being like, yeah, this feels like being going to a summer blockbuster like 10 or 15 years ago. Like he just brings that feeling to anything he's in.
Right, and that movie just came with like first of all, it rejuvenated Martin Lawrence's character. You also had Reggie's amazing scene. I was like, it did so much in that movie, and not that you forgetting about like Will Smith and what he did, like that, but honestly, you just watching the movie just to watch the movie. Like you're enjoying the characters. You're not watching a movie for Will Smith. You're watching the movie for Mike Lowry. That's what you're watching the movie for. And I
Yeah.
thought they did a great job with the characters and everything. So, like, that was a great movie for me to start off the summer. But after watching Deadpool and Wolverine, that was the greatest end to the summer for me. And I recently saw Alien, and I'll put that in my top five. I don't
Okay.
know where to put it yet, but I saw it twice, and that movie was like, it was just straight up nostalgia. I don't have any grimes. Ridley Scott did a great job allowing Freddie to kind of let him do what he needed to do, and I thought it was great
I
because
just want to, real quick, I just want to clarify for people that are in the chat. Movie Cynic just brought up a great point. This is what I kind of explained before a lot of people got in here. This list is actually, from their box office performance, and it's just summer movies starting from like The Fall Guy was the opening weekend of that. So just wanted to clarify, and thank you for joining us, Movie Cynic. Because it is a weird list. Like if you look at this, it's kind of like,
right.
what are we looking at? Especially when you have like If in there and things like that.
Right,
So,
that's why I was like, not to say If wasn't a good movie. If actually surprised me, and I wasn't expecting to like get emotional in that movie. I for what I thought it was completely different, but I appreciated the movie. What was I gonna say? Oh no, Alien Romulus. The factor that Ridley Scott mentioned this, and I have to bring this back because it was controversial. The people asked like, how come you don't have any lead black actors in your movies? He's like, I just don't know any. I don't know any. And I was like, well, so, and I was a big Ridley Scott fan. So when I heard that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So then when Romulus came out, I said they picked the best guy. I don't even know. I haven't seen his work prior to that, but it made me want to go look into his work because the way he transitioned from being like a defective robot and then transitioned to like like the complete version of a Wayland android. I said, so you couldn't find anybody before this, Ridley? No. So I just like the diversity in the entire film. Like that's why I don't know where to put it yet. And I've seen it twice, and every time I watch it, I find out there's more things in the movie in reference to the Alien movies. Like it makes you feel like all the other movies were never gonna be forgotten.
he was incredible, and I think the only other thing that I know that he's in, but I haven't seen it, but I heard the movie's really good, is Rye Lane. I believe it's called. But he's going to definitely like skyrocket as far as his career goes after Alien. I agree with this. I think The Fall Guy should be higher, but I think it came out maybe at a weird time, and also the streaming window was so short on it. I think it was like available to stream 3 weeks later, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's too quick.
Yeah, too quick. You should have just had that movie ride all summer long, you know?
Right. You know, I mean, and honestly, it was an ode to a lot of the stunt people. So I was like, I don't know why it didn't last a little bit longer. But sometimes they pull it out because they fear what's coming. Because it would have been forgotten.
I agree. Real quick, thank you very much for acknowledging this. I had a short kind of blow up a little bit. So,
yes, sweet. Congrats.
It was me bitching about Rachel Zegler, but we'll probably talk about that a little later.
That's hilarious. She is getting no love.
No, she is not. This was actually a great thing to discuss too. Furiosa bombing. I didn't hate it. But I didn't love it as much as the first one. You know what I mean? I'm surprised it didn't do as well. That it didn't even make this list.
I thought it was great. I don't know why. I guess people had their weird expectations, but I will say this: it didn't have the same, I guess, wildness and explosiveness as the Mad Max version, like previous film. Like it just, for some reason, like it just felt like they were following a story. They gave you a story, but we came for the action. So they gave us solid action, but less action than the previous movie. We actually wanted more action, and they gave us less, and they substituted with great story. And I think that kind of threw everybody off a little, and that's probably why it bombed. But I mean, I guess they were expecting like a rated R, wild, like Mad Max style type of movie, and that's not what they got.
Well, I think there's a lot. Yes, I think a lot of that is definitely playing a part in it, and I also think that like I like Anya Taylor-Joy. I really like The Queen's Gambit, things like that. But I feel like she's not necessarily a draw. Like, I don't think a movie can just rely on her to get people into the theater. Um, she's just she might get there at some point. I'm not saying she's not capable of doing that, but there's certain actors in Hollywood that, like, you put them in the movie and people are gonna run to see it regardless. Like Glenn Powell, like, kind of has that effect. I know Twisters didn't have the best opening at all. It didn't do as well as I thought it was going to, but it's consistently been in the top 5 since it's opened, and it's kind of like has kind of longer legs in that sense. Or I don't even think, like, even like a Sydney Sweeney or something like that. Like, people will go to see them.
Right.
I don't know if she necessarily has that, but I think she just signed on to do some series. I forget what it is, but I think she works better in almost like more like indie stuff or like series on Netflix and things like that.
Yeah, she needs a little more range, I believe, because some people make it work for them. Like Longlegs, the actress, I forgot her name. Like, she's always in those situations, but she knows how to make it work for her to the point where you're like, I gotta see this movie. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta see this movie with Anya. Her name's Anya, right? And
I think it's Anya Taylor-Joy. Anya.
An, Anya. So Anya, she needs to have some range like Margaret Robbie, because
Yeah.
she give you like innocent and not knowing to like just wildly chaotic. And unless we need we need to see the chaotic version. So when you have a movie called Furiosa and you didn't see that much fury,
Yeah.
like I wasn't afraid of her. She was very smart and tactical.
Yeah.
She didn't like that. She didn't proceed to her name, and I feel like that's why a lot of people were like kind of let down with that. Like Mad Max, when you see that, you like, my man is going insane just to get out and do what he needs to do. That they're insane. And mind you, we're riding on Mel Gibson. That alone
Right.
is already mad. So with this movie with Furiosa, I'm surprised it's not in the top 10. But it didn't give us as much action. Like, if we saw her just like going insane and beating somebody up to a bloody pulp, I feel like that was, oh, that's why they call her Furiosa. Oh, because she's manic and ripping. Like, that would have been a great segment if she was just fighting a whole bunch of people and tearing them apart,
Yeah. And
like
if we
John.
maybe had Charlize Theron just do a sequel with her playing the part.
Right, or just build it into that, and it gets to the point where all of a sudden we have a scene where it's Charlize Theron just
Yeah.
whooping ass, and we would have been happy with that, and then you can end the movie.
Absolutely. There's a couple people that are talking about Despicable Me. I didn't see Despicable Me. The gas did not run out. It's still doing well. I don't know if it's going to hit 1 billion. It's at like 850 something.
I'm surprised it didn't.
Yeah. So, like, and even, she's saying, I'm surprised with Despicable Me and Twister's placing. I figured it would be swapped. Yeah, I think Despicable Me kind of underperformed, and for me, and Twister's. I'm sorry. Twisters. I think they both underperformed in my opinion. But a lot of people were thinking Despicable Me was gonna hit 1 billion. I heard it was bad though. So
you know what it was? It was, when you watch the movie, it felt like it was the last movie. Like, this shouldn't be a 5. Like, you could give me as many Minion movies as you possibly want. I'm cool with it. But if you give me another Despicable Me, I'm gonna have a problem. And it felt like this movie was the last. Don't do no more. Just leave it at that, and bring legacy characters in the Minion movies, and I'll be good with it. But it did underperform. Like, I was expecting like Incredibles. Like, that's the kind of level of action and performance and whatnot. It kind of was like, not that it was a letdown, but it underperformed because they set the bar so high. So it's like, how much higher can you possibly go without losing your audience?
did you see it?
Me, yeah, I saw it. I seen every movie on this list except It Ends With Us.
Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about that too. Yeah. I've seen everything except for If and It Ends With Us. But yeah, this is a lot of people are saying the Twisters thing. Well, Bad Boys over Twisters for me. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
but the fact that the Bad Boy did so well is like incredible. Like no one thought it was going to do badly, but no one thought it was going to be like that high.
Right. They came with it, and that's why I was like, thank you. Thank you. We needed that. And Will needed that, to be honest. He really needed that.
Yes, Channing Tatum has been in 3 projects this year. There's a Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut is coming out, and he's in that. I really want to
Blink
see it.
twice. Yeah, I'm seeing
Yeah.
that next week, Tuesday.
Cool. I'm really excited to see that too. Then we've got this is a good point. Outside the quality of these movies, it's a thin list of successes for a slow summer movie season, the result of so many movies being pushed back because of the strikes.
That makes sense. I mean, I feel like we didn't have a lot, but I think for people's pockets, this was good. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes in the summer, they just be running people's pockets, and I have the A list, so I don't have to like constantly be out of pocket with it, and I could just see like things like 3 movies a week. But honestly, any more than that would have been too much, and it wouldn't have let some of these movies, have some breath. But if you think about it, look at the production. Like, what are the companies that are in this ranking? Like in terms of like Disney, like Paramount, Lionsgate. Like, if you checked it out, it seems like you're not getting a chance. If you're not part of like the big 3, you're not going to get a chance in the summer blockbusters. So you're going to have to push your movies towards like the winter, towards like their fall winter.
Last summer, that was kind of a problem in June and July. A lot of movies, it was because it was almost like crowded within the same type of like genre or demographic. A lot of movies wound up making less than they might have if they had been more spread out or if they had been placed differently in the year. Jason, the Old Millennial, I don't see. Well, Inside Out 2 is probably going to win Best Animated.
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
But besides that, I don't really see anything except for maybe some special effects, like for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I was about to say that. Kingdom. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Despicable Me is probably gonna win for music, if anything. Deadpool is most likely gonna get some. Maybe I don't know what award it's gonna get, but it might be costumes. Who knows?
A nomination, you're saying?
Yeah, nomination because of this 10 list. In terms of like costume designs, Deadpool is definitely has to get that amongst whatever I guess what would be the best cinematic, and I can't really pick which one. So Inside Out 2 might be getting a sweep, to be honest. That's what I'm thinking.
For the animated,
animated story. I
could actually see Inside Out 2 getting a story as well, like a screenplay, and who maybe the score, but that's it's gonna be tough because this is Oscar season's more in the fall, so like most of the movies that are gonna get nominated haven't even come out yet. Like the only really Dune 2 and Challengers are really the only ones so far that have Oscar legs, I'd say, as far as those go.
I've seen Challengers twice, and that's not my type of movie whatsoever. But the way it was filmed and everything, I feel like that is also gonna be really just destroying it too. Like low key, because if we're gonna say best actress, like of the year, Zendaya is getting that. That's what I believe on that movie alone.
She should get nominated, but I don't know if she will. I think if anything, definitely a original screenplay, which is actually Celine Song's husband who wrote that. And she did Past Lives, which I loved last year. But yeah, I think it'll definitely get that for sure. I would say out of all this, the one movie I'd recommend to anyone in the chat that hasn't seen it would be A Quiet Place Day One. I absolutely loved this movie. It's not going to give you it's not going to be as scary as the others, I would say, but I just loved the storytelling, and I thought both Lupita Nyong'o and oh my God, I always forget his name.
Joseph Quinn.
Yeah, Joseph Quinn. Yeah, he's going to be in the Fantastic Four. But they were both excellent, and I loved it.
I thought I didn't even talk about it as much, and I've seen that movie twice. I like the movie, and I can't say too much about it. It's just that because it was set differently, and they obviously want to expand with different characters. I think it was a first time for me. I think they did a great job, and especially like for someone who is destined to die, fought so hard to live, was such a strong message, and I feel like it definitely deserves to be up there in the ranking. Like just I would put it slightly pat like Kingdom of it's tough. That top six is also like I'd probably bring Despicable Me 4 down, Twister down, and move things up.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, I'm trying to get the next slide up here. Okay. So yeah, this was the summer pretty much, and we're probably gonna move on to the next topic here, unless you have anything else you want to say about this. But
No, I mean it's pretty solid. Deadpool and Wolverine was my one of my all time favorites for the summer,
okay.
other than
So
Alien.
yeah. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna bring this up, and let's spill some tea about
Oh,
about here we are. Let me see. Hopefully this oh god. I hate these ads. Okay. So Blake Lively is in It Ends With Us. We both have
beautiful.
not seen this movie. I probably have I have no desire to see it. I know it's a really popular book. But her public persona right now is kind of it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Do you know about the drama that's been going on?
I know so much about this movie, and I haven't seen the movie. That's how much I had to do more research because I kept on hearing it through the grapevine to the point where it's not even grapevines anymore. You know, it's just like now I'm here. I know a lot of at this point, not that I want to see the movie, but what I've come to understand is that she thought she was Ryan Reynolds. She thought she was going to promote this
Yeah.
movie with such controversy and charm that it was going to sell. Because what Ryan Reynolds is like in the Disney house promoting a rated R movie, but the way he did it was smart. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like he was in a tough spot already because they didn't want to make it rated R. Yeah, they wanted to make it PG-13, so he flipped it and made it work for him, and they like hooray. Blake Lively tried to do something with domestic violence and try to flip it as if it was like, yeah, it's a fun movie, blah blah. If I go into a movie and I'm looking for comedy and it's no comedy, straight horror, I personally am not afraid of horror movie, but if I was, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be like, why? I didn't sign up for this. So if I'm going to the movie, think it's gonna be a great romance movie, and then obviously, crazy stuff happens, but you made it to the point where it was Mamma Mia. This is not a Mamma Mia movie. This is
No.
a movie that has some dark elements that some people might be triggered by, and you kind of just like, yeah, don't worry about that. We're good here. If you didn't read the book, don't even bother reading the book. Just watch the movie. So it comes off as if she sold the movie just to get people in the doors, and she didn't care that people were gonna get pissed after.
I yes, you couldn't have said it better. I think there's also this like arrogance that she has because let's face it, like she's not really that famous. I've always said this. I mean, she's famous, but like she's kind of got a very bland look. So like I've always said that if she was walking down the street, I would not recognize her. Would I recognize Ryan Reynolds? Absolutely. And when you have that type of dynamic in a relationship, sometimes the other spouse does not do well with it. And I almost feel like she thinks she's just as famous as he is, and she wants to be smirky and quirky like he is, but it's not. It's just coming off as like tasteless and classless, and it's like you're dealing with such a difficult subject matter, and then you're like selling your cocktails and your hairline and telling girls to go with their friends and party and make it like almost like they're gonna go see the Barbie movie. It's like it's
Right,
just
this is
so
not the
ridiculous.
Barbie. Oh my. And I didn't mind you. I didn't see the movie, so I remember. I so this. I don't know if you ever seen the movie, The Forgotten. It's a horror movie. it's like a vampire movie, right? And like I didn't know. And this is before like internet was dropping trailers. I go to this movie with my mom, and literally it was the goriest movie I've ever seen. I felt so bad for my mom. I was like, oh my God. So to walk into this movie and then to be like, wait a minute, I don't think this is not is this a fun movie? Am I supposed to laugh? Or is there a punchline coming somewhere? And no, you're here now. You're gonna feel upset, angry, and this whole time, this woman has been selling us flowers, even though the character does, but the flowers are just full of thorns. It was just a bunch of thorns. That's what
Well,
we got.
and did you hear about the stuff that happened on set with the director?
What I've heard was I didn't really hear the exact thing. It's just been very indirect, and I to be an actor and a director and to deal with her ego, which I don't know what her ego is, and it comes off as like, who are you to tell me what to do? Well,
Yeah.
I am the director. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though you might have more experience than I'm still the director at the end of the day. Well, I'm not gonna really take that note. So now it's like
Yeah.
having a coworker and a manager. It's like
Yeah.
we're the same level, but you're also the manager too. But and then you're just like now your ego's getting in the way with certain things. But I felt like maybe that was the case, and she was feeling some type of way. So that's why when he hired the same, I guess the PR for Johnny Depp, I was like, all right, she's trying to drag him somehow. She's gonna drag him.
Definitely. And we're going to go back to the director in just a moment, but this is a really good point too. I know the author of the book has already been under fire for how she handles the material in her book. A lot of people do say it's a very shallow exploration of the subject matter. And I have noticed that on the press tour, Blake and her have also, like, she's also been just as jovial and kind of in this, like, it's a Barbie movie mindset, which is very off-putting and bizarre. Justin Baldoni, though, on the other hand, anytime he is interviewed about the subject matter, he takes it very seriously. I know the films he's done in the past are always very difficult subject matters to talk about, and he likes to raise awareness to these things. And so he's been speaking in public about, domestic violence and things like that. So they asked him, because it's a sequel, there's a series of these books. They asked him if he would direct the second one, and his response was, "Nope, I think Blake can direct at this point. She's got it under control, so she can direct the sequel." So it's kind of like,
Yeah, he's hands off because, mind you, if you're a director and you're handling and you have a history of handling these tough topics and whatnot, like he doesn't give me off bad dude. He's doing his job. He'd let people know about the movie. Why would I want to do a second movie with the amount of backfire that I'm getting on this movie? It's not worth it. I'm not gonna end my career for the sake of this book. And the authors is on the same bandwagon as Blake. So let Blake do it. Like, I'm not gonna, she wasn't supporting, like, the author's not really supporting the director. So at this point, you're like, hey, I did my job. I hope y'all like it. I'm gonna work on another project that's not gonna destroy my career. And then Blake is gonna understand how it is to direct the movie with a difficult topic.
dude,
That's it.
absolutely. And I think it was even stated by the studio that they had tested the film initially with audiences and they loved it. But Blake did not like that final cut. So then Blake and Ryan Reynolds did a separate cut, and that's the version the studio went with. And it didn't test as well.
You see, now I understand why he said no. She got it, because if I'm directing a movie and then you over directed what I did, and it did better. Oh no, go ahead, it's okay, because apparently that's like a slap in the face, to be honest. Like I did this work, and then you talk to Ryan Reynolds knows people,
Yeah.
so he was like, she talked to her husband, she pressured probably her husband, and he's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll see what I could do, but I don't think this is a good idea. He makes a call, things get changed. Now I can see why there's a problem. And then on top of that, you want to make it seem like because the movie's not doing well, after you took out what I did right, it's your fault. Oh no, 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 no. It's not my fault. I can't legally say you did it and it's your fault. So I'm just gonna
Yeah. Absolutely. I think she needs, I don't know what kind of positive PR she can whip up, but it's got the kind of like the J-Lo effect. And it's kind of a shame because Ryan Reynolds was on this high of Deadpool and Wolverine, and now it's kind of like, oh wait, you're married to that? Like,
right. And it's like, oh my God. I'm glad he got enough like credential and money from the movie because he wasn't paying attention. He was like he made like interviews, like he popped up in interviews, but his main focus was Deadpool. Once I hit his billion, did what all right, now that I make the money, let me go with my wife and see what's going on with this craziness and have to talk to her because what are you doing? What are you doing? The moment they find you, good thing I had your mask on when you were in my movie because that would have messed my movie up too.
oh yeah, yeah. D. Marcel, how's it going? Thanks so much for joining us. Um, so it's an interesting time because a lot of people kind of brought this up when I made a short about Rachel Zegler and about how I thought she was just completely the wrong casting because of how she's kind of behaved in the public eye, comments she's made, things like that. And a lot of people kind of are like, well, but she's an actor, she can do whatever, like she can play a part. Yeah, people can play parts. However, we live in an era now where celebrities are always on Twitter, they're always on Instagram. They're showcasing so much of their lives. There's so many now streaming interviews and things like that people didn't used to see in the past. So it was a lot easier for celebrities to get away with kind of saying whatever they want because no one heard about it. Now, because there's such a microscope on these people, yeah, you can turn people off to wanting to see you in these projects. And it's just like the J-Lo thing, it's the Blake Lively thing. Rachel Zegler has kind of done that. I still don't really think, even if she didn't make like such negative comments about Snow White and how they want to cut out the prince and all this stuff, I don't think that, even if she said that, I still don't think she was a good casting choice. But I've never really thought she was a good casting choice in a lot of things. But you know what I'm saying? Like, people have to understand that like it's a different era of celebrity, and the way celebrities present themselves is going to affect the movies they're in.
Right. And I mean, at this point, when it comes to like picking certain actors, like yes, I don't know like how she even got to that point, like in terms of film. Like I don't know what movies that she was in. Was she in like that Steven Spielberg movie, or was that not her?
Yeah, that was her, and I don't think she was that great in it. I think everyone else kind of outshined her in that movie. But
right, I haven't seen the movie, but I feel like you made it so far. You're doing well for yourself, and I think certain people need to understand that your intrusive thoughts should stay in your head, and if you need to ask if I should say this, maybe you should consult your PR before you just say things, because granted, we live in a world we should be a little more transparent for what we got to say, but in the space that we're in today in this era, I think it's best to consult a second person before talking publicly, because you have a bigger platform.
I absolutely agree with that. It is more of that. I keep thinking about this. Like, one of the big songs in the movie is "Someday My Prince Will Come." They chose "Whistle While You Work" for the trailer, or the teaser trailer, because I don't know if they are still continuing the path that she wanted to, where she wants to cut out all the romance completely. I get that in the original she was 14, which I know is very strange. All you had to do, in my opinion, though, was just make her older, because they've kind of done that with all the Disney princesses. And like, I look at the backlash. So, poor Halle Bailey, like, she had to deal with so much criticism from The Little Mermaid, and it was not about her. Well, it was, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
She was able to kind of she's I thought was actually phenomenal casting just because she does have that genuine kindness aspect to
Right.
her. So she was like, and they did an interview with each other. They both interviewed each other for like actors on actors. And I was like, look at the difference between these two actresses where one of them is kind of like, well, F everyone because they don't like me. And then the other one is just taking it with grace and like talking about it and like just wanting to do the best work for the project and praising the project she's in. Whereas Rachel Zegler is just like, F everyone.
And you know what? I feel like certain people like that, like they do a lot of practice, but they don't read their history. Because I
Yeah.
could name a couple of actors who went off script and said what they wanted to say, and we haven't heard from them for many years. And it was very hard for them to get work even till this day. So I don't see like some people's egos think like, oh, I did this big movie and blah blah. I did a Steven Spielberg movie. I'm indestructible. Nobody can take me down. I
Yeah.
don't know where that ego came from, but you have to be humble in the field. Like some actors, they weren't humble in the beginning, and then as time went by, they stayed quiet. They did what they had to do, and now they're on top. And then that was it. Like now they're in a better space that they are. Some of these younger actors, they think that they're immune to getting ripped by the internet.
Yeah.
Just the one thing you say can destroy your whole career.
Yeah.
And especially if like people don't even really like your performance and you're new, you got to be quiet for X amount of time. At least have some movies under your belt before you just F them my all right.
Yeah. You don't see Sydney Sweeney or Zendaya causing
No.
problems,
And they had problems happen, and they were like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep moving and make movies, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even with Mia Goth and whatnot, I love Mia Goth, and
Yeah, me too.
she be killing it. And they're like, oh, the movie she's in, blah blah. And she don't care, and you don't hear her saying like, oh, F this. No, she just, I'm gonna keep making movies. You got to keep it moving. Like when Dakota Johnson was going off and like, oh, the Madame movie, you signed up for this. If it is bad or good, you are still responsible for that. Like it's like even if the script is bad, you got to make it work. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson probably had some bad scripts, but he took that script and said, "I'm gonna make this work." Even if you have to remember Samuel Jackson and not the character, I'm gonna make you remember this movie because of me. If you don't have that mindset, you're gonna fail.
Right. And I think the only examples that kind of work with that is like when Sydney Sweeney hosted SNL and like that was part of her monologue being like, well, I was in this like horrible movie. Whoops. You know what I mean? So like she made fun of it also being like kind of like self-deprecating about it and a little like just a little bit of being like, well, yeah, that was, I know it was bad, but like that's okay because I'm gonna be in other stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta acknowledge it. Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, you're not gonna be in a lot of, not all your movies are gonna be bangers. You just gotta roll with the punches and then just keep filming. That's it.
Yeah. Tyler Wolf says, I think the other problem is that most actors aren't talented enough to make you forget the actor's celebrity status. That is the case sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're always watching. Who's a good example of that, I feel like?
Who's not talented enough and it makes you forget their celebrity status, and their celebrity status is bigger than their actual role.
Oh, The Rock.
Blake Lively.
Oh, Blake Lively. Yeah.
Who else? The Rock. You know what? All right, I could say I could put him in the category, but I could also take him out. I feel like he's in it and then he's not in it, because if you see his past work, like what did he do? I forgot what movie. He did some movie where he was trying to fix his son. I think it was called Snitch, I believe. He played not like your typical badass, but to me he felt like a different character. He does have movies where he does act differently, but right now he's just making money for the typecast that he is, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
That's where he is right now. He's a big action star, and that's what we expect to see. Because we don't, not to say we don't have any others. We have Tom Cruise. When we see Tom Cruise, we're not expecting we're not expecting a drama movie. We're expecting an action movie. You know what I'm saying? He can have his range, but that's what we want. That's what we want. And right now Dwayne is giving us what we want in straight up entertainment.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how his A24 movie comes out.
And see, that probably has to make him different. Like, he had to obviously put on some makeup and prosthetics to be different. But I feel like that's his chance. That right there should be his chance to be like, I have range.
It's his chance, and it's either going to be like the most incredible thing we've ever seen or the worst. I think it's going to be one way or the other, you know?
Right. Oh, you could throw Mark Wahlberg in there.
Oh, that's a great, yeah. Yeah, when we're talking about this, Mark Wahlberg, I think is great, great, great comment. Now he's just doing all of those ads for that like church app, which is very strange.
Really? This is news to me.
Yeah, I saw it during the Super Bowl. It was like it's like a like a Christian faith app, but I don't know how much money they put into this because they hired Mark Wahlberg, and there were like so many ads during the Super Bowl of him being like, now I can pray whenever I want through this app. And I was like, what?
He's like, how much they pay you? Mark says, how much they pay you? How
Yeah.
much they pay you?
Oh my goodness.
No,
it's
he's
great.
definitely the one, because there's a movie, it's called Flight Risk or something like that is about to come out in September, and he's pretty much he has a baldy, like they ripped off his hair and he has like a bald spot, and he's like a hitman, and he was pretending to be the pilot in the movie, and I'm saying to myself, like, it's just more Mark Wahlberg with like a patch of hair that's missing. Like, he's in that category where he has celebrity status, but I believe he has talent. To me, he has talent. But we always think of Mark Wahlberg. Like, I can't. Like, he's not giving me the same range as Johnny Depp.
No, I would agree with that. Yeah, the fear of cancellation is the lack of faith in your fans and your craft. Flinch or hesitate, and the shark circle. You cancel yourself, keep moving forward. Yeah, just move on, and just,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you gotta keep you just gotta keep moving, even if you fail. Like, why do we need to? And I think the public also, like, they also bring you this. Yeah, that was a ridiculous show.
I
But like,
haven't seen it.
now you gotta check it out. I feel like because a movie box office bombs or flops, they look at the actors. They don't look at the writers. They don't look at the directors. They don't look at anybody else. If a movie bombs, they look at the actors. They look at the lead actors, and they perpetuate this like, oh, you failed. Like, if we just had it where, oh, the movie didn't do too well and we moved on and we didn't isolate the actors, I feel like it'd be a little easier. But some people go into this defense mode and they get angry and they say, well, the movie sucked and blah blah, and I'll never work with this director again and this that. I blame how the media works with that, because they really, like, literally the movie just comes out the first weekend. Oh, it hit. It used to be like you wait like a week or two. Now it's just like 3 days.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like that, you have to make the most money possible, and that judges whether your movie is good. And if the movie does well money wise, does that mean it does well acting performance wise?
It would probably just be, if a movie does well financially, then studios will consider hiring that person more than they might have if the movie didn't do well. You know what I mean? But you still have to be likable to work with as well. It's kind of like Sam Jackson. Like, he's in so many things because people like working with him. You could say like, yeah, he takes everything, but people are offering him these things because they like working with him, or they want to work with him.
Right. And that's also great energy to have too. So, like, Samuel Jackson, perfect example. When you see him, you're like, yeah, Samuel Jackson, I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna, you're not, just because he's in it, you're like, I'll give this movie a chance.
Yeah.
And that's why I think they also be just picking certain actors to throw them into the movie. Like, imagine if Tom Cruise was in the Blake Lively movie. We don't know how long his scene is. We just know that he's in the movie. Everybody's gonna be like, you know what? I think I might check this movie out. Why is Tom Cruise in the movie? I don't know. I'm gonna watch the movie now
Right.
because Tom Cruise. Because you have a lead in to get into that movie, or if Margaret Robbie was in the movie. But
Right.
Blake needs to understand she doesn't have the clout yet.
No.
She doesn't
No.
have it.
No, she
Name
doesn't.
me one movie lead actor like leading role that she did that you remember. I
I
only have
haven't
one.
seen them. I went through her IMDb list and I was like, I haven't seen one thing she's ever been in. And it's not a lot. She hasn't been in a lot of things, which I think also to what you were saying is if she was difficult in this movie, she was probably difficult in the past and people don't want to work with her. And that's just the fact, you know?
Word gets around quick. Word gets around
Yes.
quick, especially
Yes.
in like if you especially from crew, like when the crew hears about it and they talk about it, you treat them in a certain type of way. Everybody knows all the like everybody knows. So like if you're a person that like, oh, I love working on set with him, and then you bring that energy, you
Yeah.
know that's what you want. And the only movie I know is when it was a shark movie, and I forgot what it was. I think it was called The Shallow or Deep Shallow or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. That was the only movie, and I personally liked it, but that was years ago. I don't
Yeah.
know any movie like it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta go see this Blake Lively movie. It
No.
like she looks pleasant. I'm like, and I know she acts well, but I'm not gravitating to see the movie. And I feel like when she did the whole, oh guys, come and I feel like that was like a not it was a panic move, but I just felt like you know what, let me just throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I heard that that film is actually not is actually quite good. The Shallow or whatever it is. I think that's it. Yeah. But I think like it's not Gossip Girl era anymore. And even when that was on, I didn't watch it. But I know that was really popular, and she never. Yeah, it's. I would love to hear what her cast members from that show say about working with her because I'm sure that would say a lot.
Right.
Do you have we're going to finish up right now, but we're going to end on this question because it's a good one. Should DC keep their release numbers low like Marvel this year? So when they start pumping things out, do you think James Gunn should kind of like, have a really strategic plan and kind of keep it to a minimum?
Right now, there was a lot of talk because they were like, "Oh, what's this first movie gonna be?" And I forgot what the movie was technically that was released with DC. That was under him. But right
Creature
now, there's a
Commandos, I think.
which one?
Creature Commandos, I think, is an animated series, but it might be an animated movie.
Yeah, because they were saying like one of the movies that I don't know if it was like recently. They said like that movie was like technically like the first installment, and I don't know if that was like Blue Beetle or whatnot because.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I think that was like he said he's gonna keep that, but
Hmm.
there was a lot of reshoots that were happening. But there's a lot of pressure on James Gunn, and I feel like once Superman drops, that's where it's gonna open up. That's like the Iron Man for the Marvel universe. Is when Superman drops, I feel like that's gonna set the tone for the rest of DC movies, and I feel like we just gotta wait and let
Hmm.
him do his thing because to compare it to Marvel right now, I don't think right now we really don't have anything to compare it to, like, oh, this is James Gunn, like this is his movie, So right now, Marvel is waiting patiently for Superman, and I feel like they're gonna be pushing their movies after Superman comes out. I mean, granted, we already have Captain America ready to go in February, conveniently on Black History Month, but
Right.
but I feel like they're like once Captain America comes out, I think that's gonna be like, all right, this is where we're at right now because Deadpool versus and Wolverine was a great movie for the DC universe to give us a like to kind of wrap things up a bit, especially with the multiverse type of stuff. Um, but I feel like Captain America is probably gonna be the last of its era until they start something new.
I think you were right. You could have called it Deadpool versus Marvel.
Right, yeah, pretty much Deadpool
Yeah.
versus Marvel.
Yeah, I think I think the fact that Marvel's putting out 3 movies next year is a little concerning to me because I feel like it was kind of nice having just one this year, and I'm not saying they have to stick to one, but like maybe 2 would have been enough for me, but like 3 is kind of a lot, I feel like.
How many do they have? Like, what else is the like coming out? Because it's Captain
So
America.
Thunderbolts and then Fantastic Four
So wait, Thunderbolts is a movie or a show?
movie.
So
I know.
first of all, I know we know the characters, but don't you think it's a little bit rushed?
Yeah.
Because they just introduced the Red Hulk, and the Red Hulk is supposed to be part of the Thunderbolts, but I guess they'll push that until later. But technically speaking, yes, we do know the characters. I didn't know it was going to be a movie. I actually thought it was going to be a show. But the fact that it's going to be a movie and we don't have any trailer.
They showed it at Comic-Con recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Thunderbolts?
Yeah, but it didn't get leaked. Well, I mean, it did get leaked, but that was quickly taken down. I have a feeling they're going to show a trailer for that well, I guess we'd have to wait till Captain America. I don't know at this point, actually, when they're going to give us a trailer for that.
Wow. And then after Thunderbolts, we're getting
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You know, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it. That means that each of those movies got to be bomb-tackler.
They have to be. I think especially Fantastic Four. I think that one, because this is the third time they're rebooting that franchise, and I think that there's a lot at stake with those 4 actors in it, and I think that they kind of want to incorporate them. Well, I don't think I'm sure they're incorporating them into like Secret Wars and stuff like that. So I think that's really the movie to be like, okay, Kevin Feige, we trust you again. Let's kick some ass moving forward.
That's why I was saying that Captain America was the last era, because if they're ending it with Fantastic Four, and I know Thunderbolt is in between, that means that whatever of the events happen is going to tear a portal, it's going to tear a rip, and it's going to open different possibilities, which they said that movie is going to open the door for X-Men. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel is going to happen in that next movie. It's going to give a rebirth to the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And that gives them enough time to look at DC and say, you're next.
Right. And I don't think James Gunn is concerned, because I think that I think a part of him feels like he kind of loves the fact that Marvel went into like kind of its worst period ever, because he was like a major part of Marvel. And then as soon as he left, he was like watching the house burn down and being like, haha, well, I'm at DC now, so just wait till you see what I can do.
Right. And honestly, like what he had to do to even get, because what had happened is he had to come up with a contract that wasn't going to screw him over like they did Zack Snyder, to be honest, because like the way he had to talk to them, he's like, listen, if it fails, it's my fault. Yeah. I don't want y'all to touch it. Don't touch nothing. That's the only way it was going to work with him. And I feel like you have Superman, that you're like the house that he's in control of. You have all the favorites that we all love.
Yep.
You have Batman, Superman. Like at this point, you can't go wrong with a Batman movie.
Yeah.
You can go with a Superman movie, but not the way I see he's going with in this direction. No, and also the tone that he has. Like he could come up with a rated R movie with a DC movie, and they're not gonna be like, oh no, we need it to be PG-13. He's not worried about that. He's like, I'm gonna make it rated R, or I'll make it PG-13.
I think that was very well said. And on that note, I think we're gonna close things down here. Is there anything you want to promote or anything you've got going on?
Yes. So I would love to promote the movie Alien Romulus. Please go check out that movie. It was an amazing movie. And if you're a big fan of the Alien universe, definitely watch that movie. It brings back a lot of nostalgia. It's between Alien 1 and Alien 2. And that's all I'll say.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks so much for joining me. And thanks to everyone who stopped by and chatted it up in there. And yeah, this was a random thing. I'm going to start trying to get some things coming up. So there's some, movies, summer blockbusters are kind of over, but there's going to be a lot coming out in the fall and winter time that I'm very excited for. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.
All right. Have a good one. Bye. Thank you for having me.